Hi everyone, I hope you're doing good today. I got up very early this morning, which is unusual for me, and I wasn't planning on doing a whole lot. I was just sitting around having coffee, and all of a sudden I got inspired to give you this message. A man had posted a video about spiritual stuff, and he's someone that I've been following a long time, and he's handsome and he's funny and he's witty and all that. But I don't have this extreme profound connection with him. I don't feel drawn to him or anything. I just like him as a person and as a spiritual teacher. But there are very many people that I've come across throughout my life who I have felt a very deep, profound connection with. So today I'm inspired to give you a message about these connections. And even though many of you know me to be very lofty, woo-woo kind of a person, I do have a very solid, grounded, logical side through which I function very well when I choose to. And I'm going to give you this information or insight, more accurately, through that very grounded, down to earth perspective. So, this is going to be a little bit longer than my normal messages. So, grab a cup of coffee or tea and get ready for a really interesting, very useful message. So, ever since I was little, I have felt connections with people. Now, through my twin flame experience, I have lost a lot of people out of my life because they don't believe in connections, or they don't understand them, or some of them probably do to such a degree that it's overwhelming, and they prefer to just look away from the possibility that they even exist. But for those of us on the twin flame or the spiritual journey, or those of us who are kind of intrigued by it but maybe don't quite know what's going on yet, you're going to find this extremely interesting, and you're very drawn to any information about such connections and dynamics with different people. So, going back to this man who had posted the video. So, as I said, he's very handsome and he's funny and he's smart and he's successful and all that. And I like him a lot, and I have an affinity with him. Like, I understand where he's coming from, and I could probably like hang with him and everything. But I don't feel any kind of romantic attraction, or like I have to be his best friend, or like I feel this compulsion to connect with him or anything. And there have been people throughout my life who I've had that with. Now, I have misunderstood these connections for most of my life. But when I had my twin flame awakening in 2014, everything, all the truths, all the facts, all of the divine information all got dumped on me in an instant. Now, obviously, I didn't process all this with my intellect in an instant. It took me time to work through it all and sort it all out. And the next couple of years following that was very arduous and very tumultuous and very challenging, for me to say the very least. But I'm coming out on the other side of that now, and I feel like I'm really in a place where I can be there for myself, be present for myself, grow deeper into connection with myself, and at the same time fulfill my passion, which is to help other people with their spiritual journey and to understand relationships better. So, what I have observed through all of my 35 years in retail and looking back on that and using that time as an apprentice platform, so to speak, I noticed that many people go through life living on the surface, living from the perspective of the material world, and never take time to go within and reflect on what these connections mean to them. So, sadly, people go through life not ever recognizing these connections with people. Now, I did this for many years. I did it with my 2 husbands. I did it with family members. I did it with friends. And again, my twin flame awakening helped me see connections, spiritual soul connections with people in a whole different light. And I don't want to do the work for anyone. I know that that is impossible. You have to do it for yourself. And I don't even want to try to convince or heavily influence anyone that this is real or possible. Again, I'm here giving this message to people who are curious or intrigued or really feel a deep-seated need to understand better the workings of themselves and the people in their life. So if you're not one of those people, then just hit the stop button and go on to something that you're more interested in. Now, what I really, really am excited about today is that the connections that I've made in my life recently, who I do feel very drawn to, including my twin flame, including other very deep soul connections who have been close to me through the past couple years of my journey, and even new people coming into my life still. Those are the connections that I've been longing for and hungering for and truly missing throughout all of my life. And some of those people who are in your life right now are those connections for you. But because you're looking out here for that sense of connectedness and belonging, you're missing what's already going on. So I'm here to encourage you and to inspire you to know that they are possible and they're just a heartbeat away. So, what I want to share is not really how to go about finding them, but to remind you that all you have to do is step inside your soul, and you will begin to discern better the people that come into your life, who belongs there, and who is there just for a temporary time to teach you something more about yourself. Now, that could be the cashier in the grocery store line. It could be someone you work with. It could be, again, it could be a family member or a romantic interest or your best friend. Early on in my journey, I did not discern at all. I grew up in a very dysfunctional background, and I didn't know anything about connectedness or learning how to choose healthy connections and relationships. Now, I knew it intuitively, but from what I observed in my home life, it took me in an opposite direction until I finally realized that I had to start trusting my gut rather than listening to the negative influences in my life. So I'm in a place in my life now where I can almost assess instantly when I meet someone new the approximate relation and duration of that connection. And the reason that I can say that so confidently is because I've tried and tested it. And the more I go on, the more I'm finding that my discernment or my intuition about people is accurate. So I'm sorry to hesitate. I just had to stop for a moment and think how absolutely incredible this is. It's almost like magic. It really is. And if you really believe that this can be, if you can open your mind and open your heart and your soul and know without a shadow of a doubt that that is what life is for. It's about discovery. It's about exploration. It's about fun. It's about learning how to first believe in that magic. And then once you discover the reality of it, then you have to learn how to implement it into your life and bring it down to earth and use it in a very not conventional, but practical manner. And that's what I'm starting to do now. I'm finally in that place in my life where I've come into balance. And I'm able to stay centered through different circumstances and different ups and downs and everything. And it really, really, really has to do with the people who you connect with. It has to do with you first. But once you attain that understanding of yourself, then you're able to bring people in and out of your life in a healthy way that's going to be best for you and be best for the people around you as well. So I've gone on for quite a few minutes, just kind of rambling and expressing my thoughts about all this. Now I'm going to go more into how I did it and how it's benefited me. So from being in a dysfunctional household and from being in retail, which in my opinion, depending on the company and the location, the culture, or the geographical area where you are, you can even be in a dysfunctional retail environment or work environment, regardless of if it's retail or office or public service or whatever. And I do know different organizations, or I do know people who work in different organizations who are among a very dysfunctional group of people as a whole. I'm not speaking about individuals, but just generally speaking, I've seen that. Anyway, so when I was young, I would look around me and I would be drawn to people and I would be intrigued by people. And as I grew older and I would encounter those people again, we would just kind of gravitate back toward each other, whether it be just, a 10-minute conversation or we ended up being friends. And watching people throughout my retail career, watching people interact with each other and with me and so forth, that's been great training ground for me too, in that it helped me learn discernment better. And it helped me learn about myself because I learned what type of person that I really, really wanted in my life, in my circle. And the more that I grow into who I'm truly meant to be, or as we say in the spiritual community, my highest potential self, as I grow more and more into that each day, I draw more people similar to myself into my circle, which really is the most incredible thing, because you learn that you can be in the world and be among all different kinds of people, and yet you're looking for that connectedness constantly and finding something within every single person that you can identify with. And that kind of brings me to another thing that we talk about in the Twin Flame community is mirrors, or the mirror reflection effect that we get from meeting people. So I guess it all boils down to that, is the more that you are able to feel connections with other people, the more you're connected with yourself, the more you know yourself, the more you understand yourself, and the more of your authentic or your highest potential that you have grown into being. So I'm rambling, and I'm probably not going to post this one today. I'm probably going to do a shorter version because I am rambling, but I guess this is good practice for me. So if I do end up sharing this, I do want to say thanks everyone for joining or for following along in my journey, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and maybe I'll share this with a few people that I'm close to and you will get something from it. I hope so. So thank you so much, and I will see you again soon.